Today we're going to do the Fire Bible for Kids. Additional material, Cleanliness is next to Godliness. And this is the setup. This is what you need to do before you have any kids come. What you need to gather is you need to get vegetable oil, some bleach, 3 mason jars, or I have 2 children. Or if you have 5 kids, then you're going to need 6 mason jars, but make sure you have one for yourself. You're going to need your Fire Bible, and you're going to need it turned to page 1493. And you're going to need some food coloring. And that's the setup. Okay, now after you've gathered your materials, the thing also that you need to do is you need to set up the mason jars again before you start the Bible study. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your bleach, and it could be any bleach, it's generic, it doesn't really matter, and you're going to pour it into your mason jar, and you just pour 1/3 of a cup or 1/2 a cup, it doesn't quite matter. Okay, and after that's done, cap on the bleach, make sure you don't spill it, and then it can just go away, you're never going to use it again. The same thing with vegetable oil. This time you take the vegetable oil in the jar and you tilt the jar sideways and you pour the vegetable oil in slowly. And what it's going to do is, since it's lighter than the bleach, it's going to float on top. So you should see 2 different colors. So it's going to look like that when you're done. The vegetable oil floating on top of the bleach. And be sure you don't stir it. And the same thing, you kind of do it for all of the other ones. So we'll do it real quick. And again, the goal is not to mix the bleach and the vegetable oil. This is my kids, Caleb and Alexander, and we're going to do the Bible study, Cleanliness is next to Godliness. You guys ready? Yeah. Okay. So in 2 Corinthians 7 verse 1, it says, "Therefore, having these promises, beloved, let us cleanse ourselves from all filthiness of the flesh and spirit, perfecting holiness in the fear of God." So what Paul is saying is that when we know Jesus, we should be clean like Jesus. Did Jesus sin? No? You can talk. No sin. Do you sin? Yes? Do I sin?
Yes.
Thanks for pointing that out, buddy. Okay. So if this is your life, and this is sin, every time you sin, what happens?
It sits there.
It puts a dot. Right? I like different colors. But yeah, so you know, Adam and Eve sinned, my parents sinned, there's sin in our life. And that's sin. So why don't you think about your sin, and every time you disobey your parents, or you disobey your parents, why don't you stick a drop in your life? You could do some different colors. Here's yellow. So the goal of this is that they could take their time, and it looks really nice and cool. They could decorate their jar. But the idea of the study is for them to really think about how they sin and how it affects their life. Okay, Xander.
Because sin might look cool on the surface.
Sin might look cool.
But it doesn't.
But it contaminates the whole body, doesn't it?
Yes, yes it does.
Alright, so when we look like this before we accept Christ. And when we accept Christ, Jesus comes into our heart and he mixes things up, right? So as we get stirred up with Christ and he abides in us, what happens to our sin? It becomes lighter and lighter and brighter until we get to heaven and we become
Yellow!
clear, free of sin, like Christ. So why don't you accept Jesus,
Okay. No,
put him in your life? Here, go, Kayla. You want to accept Jesus and put him in your life?
Knocking wire people. Can I go to heaven yet? Is it near there?
Keep stirring.
Yay!
Why don't you hold on to it so you don't... Alright, you don't have to be really violent.
I'm almost to heaven.
Okay,
I'm to heaven. It's orange.
alright. Since this is bleach, you want to be careful not to get the bleach on the kids' clothes. And again, if you look at my kids, their hands may be filled with food coloring. So again,
Yummy.
be careful. So you accepted Christ and Christ came inside of you, and what happened to your sin?
It's mixed it up and lighter.
Did he take your sin away?
Yeah.
Yes. Can you see my jar, how I stirred mine first and I'm clear? So eventually, you'll be the same way as you get older and as you stop trying to sin because you want to be like Jesus, and as you put all of the worldly things behind you, you start looking more like Christ. Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye!